Hello. Welcome to another episode of Read With Me. I am yours truly, I'm Isabel Waddell. I am here to read with you, and I'm so excited to do so again. It's another month. It's another amazing month where we're going to be reading another book. And we're entering the month of May. Okay. We absolutely love the month of May. Our brothers were born in the month of May. We have aunts that were born in the month of May. And we like to call May Money May. And guess what? We're going to be reading this amazing book by this amazing guy, Ryan Serhant. Absolutely love this guy. He is awesome. He is really he's a real one. Let's put it that way. And I'm excited for this book because I've already read like 3 chapters of it. And to be honest with you, the way that he writes is the way that he talks. And those are by far my favorite books because I channel this person, okay? Because I've seen him on TV, because I've seen him on a show or whatever on their YouTube channel. Make sure to check out Ryan Serhant's YouTube channel. He is awesome. Just so you guys are aware who Ryan Serhant is, about 10 years ago, Ryan Serhant, he officially hit, not 10 years ago, but recently, he hit $1 billion in brokerage. Okay, he has a $1 billion brokerage. He is a co-star of $1 Million Listing, New York. And he was actually living paycheck to paycheck 10 years ago. So in a 10-year mark, he officially turned his life around. And now he has an amazing brokerage that, you know, helps people from all over the world get prime real estate in New York. Plus, he's also built an amazing team. You can check it out. And what this book is all about is, you know, making you dominate, how to dominate, make millions, and get anything that you want. And honestly, because we work with a lot of coaches, because we work with a lot of online entrepreneurs, I really want to just make sure that you understand that this type of book is built for you. If you're in a position where you're like, okay, I need to get my next client, I need to get my mood up, I need to get my, you know, my relationships up, how do I improve on that? Like this is a tool that you're definitely going to benefit from. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? We have a lot to do today. Money May. Okay. And I'm glad that we're starting off with this amazing book. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the introduction, and it's what is big money energy? Okay. We're going to go from introduction all the way to chapter 1 because it's a very smooth intro and smooth chapter to go into. So get ready. If you have a water, if you have some tea, grab it, get comfy. All right, let's get into it. What is big money energy? If you're reading this book because there's something that you want that you don't have, it could be your dream job, more money, an affluent lifestyle, or the self-confidence to move you through the world with ease, knowing you have the power to get whatever you want along the way. I know exactly what it feels like to want a bigger and better life. Just 10 years ago, I was living commission check to commission check, barely making ends meet, stuck in a survival mode. Yet everywhere I looked, I'd see people who just exuded success, accomplishment, and confidence oozed from their pores like some sort of magical liquid gold. It was evident in the way they walked, talked, dressed, and smiled. And to be clear, I'm not talking about the obvious signs of status. I didn't think I could actually throw on a fancy watch, which I would have had steal anyways, but without the fancy watch and automatically change my life. But I wanted to be the ultra confident I wanted to be like the ultra confident people who were walking down the street beside me. I wanted my fear of failure to stop ruling my life. I wanted to break through all the constant obstacles thrown in my path. Clearly, these put together, confident looking people were on their way to important meetings with captains of industry or power lunches. I wanted to be that. I wanted big money energy. Big money energy is the vibe you get from someone who is massively succeeding at life in every direction. You know this person. You notice him or her instantly when they walk by the office because of their confidence. It's glowing like a halo, but humbling. Or you see the person at a party and her energy is so big that she effortlessly stands in the crowd. A person with big money energy is the ultimate picture of self-confidence. There's no bravado, no bragging. They know they have BME, big money energy. And so does everyone else. It's completely obvious. People who possess big money energy get that way because they are 100% committed to making their vision for themselves a reality. And their vision is big. When you meet someone with BME, you can't help but want to get around them. They're confident but never cocky. They understand the path to success is paved with hard work, gratitude, patience, and experience. This person has learned to brush off her shoulders. She stays determined and keeps her eye on the prize ahead. People with BME never stop learning, earning, and growing. If you want more for yourself, but bigger and better feels out of reach, know that it's not. It's all yours for the taking. And if you think you've already maximized your potential, and then by all means floating around in your gold-plated infinity pool and just have your butler toss the book in the volcano that came along with your private island because clearly you figured it all out and you don't need any help from Ryan at all. Okay. In 2008, my annual earnings were $9,188. After designing a whole new Ryan and going bigger, 10 years later, I am earning $1 million every single month. I've managed to build a blueprint for unshakable BME, big money energy. I've outlined that whole entire blueprint in this book, along with stories of my own life. So you can see how big money energy completely changed the course of my career. And I've also sprinkled in some codes in the tools I've used to bring greater success into my life every single day. People aren't born with big money energy. Well, most of us aren't. I know I wasn't, okay? And it's not an energy that is exclusive to celebrities, the wealthy, or the freakishly good-looking people, or the well-connected, or even the powerful. It lives inside all of us. This book will actually show you how to unleash the big money energy so that you can achieve more financial growth for yourself, succeed on every greater level that you ever expected, and expand your dreams to outrageous proportions. I want you to be more for yourself. In the following pages, I'm going to guide you through the process, the same exact process that I used to transform myself into the guy who makes more money than I ever imagined by the time that I turned 35. As a former low rent salesman who woke up every morning worried about how I would actually succeed, I know it can all be turned around if you follow the steps that I'm going to lay out in the chapters ahead. And guess what? I know you have big money energy inside of you, and I am determined to help you unleash it. I want to make you the best version of yourself, the one you've always imagined you can be. I want you to wake up every day excited to live another day as you, and to know that you can achieve any vision you create for yourself, no matter how massive it is. So if you want to be where you want to be, and not just where you are, then let's go. Let's get into it, shall we? And I love how he puts like this big, letters in here. And he's like, there's no way you're going to accept an average, run off the mill kind of life. You don't have to. You want massive success? Your vision for your life is huge. You're going to crush your goals and take everything you do to extraordinary heights. Bigger isn't just better, it's everything. Awesome. So that was the introduction, and we're about to get into chapter 1, which is going to be really, really powerful. And I have a feeling a lot of people that listen to this are going to be like, "Ooh, wow, this is so fun!" Because honestly, this is one of my favorite books that I've already kind of like skimmed through, and I'm like, yes, this is great. Okay, shall we? All right, chapter 1, go bigger. When I answered the phone in my office on a random Tuesday morning in 2009, I thought it would either be a broker calling to scream at me because another one of my clients had just pulled out of the deal, or the usual, hi, I'm looking for a cheap 2-bedroom condo that me and my 6 friends can actually be stuffed into. But before I start reeling off the information about the listings, the woman on the phone shared that her name was June Shen. She worked for a large oil and gas company in China, and she was looking to buy an apartment in New York. This was, to say the least, unexpected. I had never sold an apartment to someone from another country. And he's like, okay, that's great. I said, what are you looking for exactly? What's your budget? And then Jun Shen is like, 2 million or so, but if we need to spend more, we can. Chills went up my spine. My jaw didn't just hit the floor. I swear it detached from my face and floated down gently in a cloud of sparkles. 2 million? In the middle of a recession, while everyone is losing their jobs? I had done some small sales under 1 million in the first half of 2009, but nothing this big before. Then I asked her another genius question. When do you plan on moving or coming to the city? Oh, we would never do that. This is just an investment for my daughter. Oh, is she born yet? How old is your daughter? And then Jun Shen is like, she's not actually born yet, but she will be soon. And then I was like, wait, what? She was buying an apartment for a baby who wasn't even born yet? And then Jun Shen's like, Ryan, I'll be in town for a couple of days later in the month. Can you help me out by showing me some apartments? And while I was tempted to say, listen, Jun Shen, I'd love to help you, but I've never sold a 7-figure apartment before and I have no idea what I'm doing. Well, I actually responded with, oh yeah, I can help you find the perfect apartment because it's what I was born to do. Oh my God. Then I hung up the phone and started to panic. The reality was that I was a brand new real estate agent in Manhattan, living a very hand-to-mouth commission check to rent existence in one of the most expensive and intensely competitive cities in the world. And I was really, really struggling. Like, I'd wake up every day and think, oh, it's morning. Hello, anxiety. How are you this fine day? What's going on, dread? You hanging in there, little buddy? And then I'd go about my day acting like I had my own personal storm cloud following me around everywhere I went. This wasn't what I wanted. I actually craved success, but I had convinced myself that success was reserved for some other people. Success was the domain of those who were more confident, better educated, well connected, smarter, richer, better looking, bolder. It felt like everyone was ranking in the big bucks, but me. At work, other realtors were getting clients with much larger budgets, but while I actually stuck around with the clients looking to live on a cheap, living in fear of a negative bank balance, that's where I was. My constant worry was about money. In fact, it consumed me. Before I spent even $1 on anything, a sandwich, a subway ride, a bar of soap, a pair of socks, or even a new toothbrush, I had to ask myself, if I buy this, will I still have enough left over to pay my rent? Every dollar was accounted for, and there were never enough of them. I was so tired of being the guy my lawyer and finance friends bought drinks for out of pity. I wanted to be the guy who said, I'll get this round. Instead of nursing a seltzer, I pretended it was vodka because that's all I could afford. I knew I was going to get out of this cycle if I kept renting out studios and out of the way 1-bedroom apartments. I was so sick of waking up and going to bed worrying about money. The worry felt like a pain in my side and never left me. But the problem was, I didn't even want to do business with myself. Nothing about me said, let me help you spend $1 million. I didn't even own a suit. I felt low rent, looked low rent, and acted low rent. Why would June Shen want to buy a fancy apartment from someone like me who was dripping with desperation? I'd been living like that for years. And if I didn't make some serious changes, I could look forward to living the same unsatisfying life forever. That day, as I looked at my closet and contemplated how many times I had worn the same button-down shirt to meet clients, I realized that June Shen knew nothing about me. And she didn't know anything she didn't know anything about me other than my name was Ryan and I was a real estate agent in New York. She didn't know that I looked like the kid who got picked last in the gym or that I never sold a multi-million-dollar apartment ever. She had found me on the internet because of an open listing I had posted, and she called me by chance at random. For all I knew, for all June knew, I could be rolling around in a giant pile of $1,000 bills while I was talking to her. This was an opportunity to present myself in the way that I wanted to be seen. This was a chance to wipe the slate clean. June needed to meet the bigger version of Ryan, the person I had often dreamed about becoming while lying in my student apartment, the one without a bathroom. Yeah, he was living in a 1-bedroom apartment without a bathroom. It was actually a studio apartment, so there was no bedroom. Okay. The bigger Ryan was confident, energetic, and closed deals for breakfast. I wanted June Shen to meet me as that guy, someone who was already successful, not just some kid. I started thinking about the picture of success, and I wanted to picture that so I can present it to June. I had to be brutally honest with myself. My 5th-year college student look wasn't going to cut it. I dug out my Macy's credit card that I had never used, by the way, and purchased the nicest looking suit that I can afford. Taking the subway wasn't going to send the right signal either. So the other successful brokers in my office took their clients around in town cars. I Googled limo service New York City, clicked on the first link and rented a black SUV that looked very well used, but came with a driver to take us around. Nowadays, there's actually an Uber. My credit card was seeing a lot of action. With a new suit and a black car booked, I decided that I'd be the master of New York streets. I went crazy studying everything about the blocks of New York before June's arrival. It was intense. Like I was studying to take the LSATs. I studied every street name, the business locations, tourist sites, you name it. I knew it. The deals I had made thus far as a new agent had been generally limited to Murray Hill and the Village and the outer boroughs. I had barely even set foot in the nicer parts of town where the apartments were more expensive and appealed to more affluent people. But I had to seem knowledgeable and without hesitation. She needed to know that I really knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what clients usually ask for before buying an apartment that costs millions of dollars. So I also memorized every fact about each building I was going to show her. When it was built, the architect who designed it, the developer on the project, and who else lived there. For weeks, I forced myself to learn and be prepared for any question June might ask me. I researched the land, the buildings, where they were built on, so I could give her some history about Manhattan. If a celebrity lived in the building we were looking at, I knew about it. If a scene from a movie was shot there, I knew all the details. I took note of all the playgrounds so I could point out the places where little June Jr. could play. At one point, I really needed a snack, so I stopped at a coffee shop. I noticed the guy who was working there was named Bob. I thought, hey, wow, what if I bring June here for a coffee and I know Bob by name and it will seem like I'm in this expensive neighborhood all the time? I'll appear like a big time agent just by association. I woke up the day of my appointment with June feeling ready to go, though I had barely slept since I was so nervous. The SUV picked me up in my apartment in Koreatown. And as we drove uptown to June's hotel, sitting in the back seat, being driven to a multi-million-dollar client, I realized that I was experiencing a level of calm and confidence I had never felt before. The nerves from last night were gone. For once, I was going to meet a potential buyer filled with positive energy. Remarkably, I didn't feel afraid of falling flat on my face. When we pulled up to the corner where the hotel was, I noticed a very exhausted and very pregnant Chinese woman standing there in a baggy, wrinkled tracksuit. I rolled down the window, feeling just a little bit like Richard Gere in Pretty Woman, and I was like, June, hi, I'm Ryan. June weakly lifted up a hand to indicate that yes, it was her. I got out to open the door for her. She slid in, leaned against the door, and immediately fell asleep. Oh, okay. Well, the flight from China was really long, So we spent the next couple of days following the same pattern. I'd pick up June, she'd get in the car and take a nap. I'd wake her up. We got into the property we were looking at, and then she would get out, walk around the apartment in total silence. Oh my God, is she sleepwalking? Like, what do I do here? You're never supposed to wake up a sleepwalker, right? But then we'd get back into the car, and then she'd say, I don't like it. And then she immediately fell back asleep. So she was definitely awake. That afternoon, the afternoon of her last day in the city, it was so hot and humid. We still hadn't found the perfect apartment for her unborn child. And I'd racked up so many charges on my credit card, I had no idea how I would actually pay them off. June needed a drink and a snack, so we got hot dogs and bottled water from a street cart, and we headed to the Rushmore, a brand new condominium building developed by Excel at 80 Riverside Boulevard. It was gorgeous. This was the opposite of what showing walk-up convertible 3 beds with no AC in Astoria, Queens feels like. This felt great. This felt right. This felt like my future, and I was living it. June woke back up when the car pulled over, her half-eaten hot dog still in her hand. When we got inside the apartment, everything was different. Suddenly, June Shen was wide awake and she broke her silence. I like this. Yes. We started looking at the kitchen and then the bathrooms. And by the time we got to the bedroom where someday her baby would sleep, she said, this is the one. Let's make an offer. We got into the car and June went right back to sleep while I bounced up and down, grinning from ear to ear. I was about to sell an apartment with an asking price of $2.5 million to a fetus. I was going to be rich. Fast forward a few nights later, and after my first major negotiation with the developer, I'm standing in the lobby of the St. Regis Hotel at 3 a.m. The big greasy bag of cheeseburgers that a still very jet-lagged June requested I bring her was overpowering the lobby's carefully cultivated scent of wealth and power. But I had done it. I had negotiated like I had been doing this for 10 years. I knocked $300,000 off the price and sold June's unborn child a 2.2 apartment at 80 Riverside Boulevard. June was ready to sign the contract while inhaling some curly fries. I had managed to close a really, really big deal in the middle of a recession. It was a preview of what life could look like if I let go of my low money mindset. Nothing else had changed in my life. I was still just as young real estate agent with no contacts. But while nothing really changed, everything did. My parents came to visit me a few months later, just after the closing. I met my dad outside of the hotel before dinner, and I asked him to walk with me to the bank. I bank with Chase, so it feels like they have ATMs on every corner of the city, which is great when you have checks to deposit, but really bad when you don't. And they just keep reminding you of all the money that you don't have. But this time, for the first time ever, I was going to the ATM because I had a massive $24,000 commission check burning a hole in my coat pocket. My dad stood next to me as I watched my bank balance shoot from a few $100s to nearly $25,000. I couldn't believe it. This was the most money I had ever seen in my bank account. My dad was so proud, but I could tell he wasn't as impressed as me. To me, this achievement represented a massive life-altering win. In my mind, this was as good as it gets, and I was going to soak up every ounce of enjoyment from this experience. This money would cover rent for the next 2 years of my life. I could buy new shoes, I could go grocery shopping. Hell, I could even be Mr. Generous and replace the shower curtain in the bathroom where I shared with 25 other people. You think this is really something? My dad asked. Heck yeah, I did. It's nice, bud, but you really need to understand that there's so much more where this came from. Just look around. The world is full of June Shens. There's nearly 10 million of them in this city alone. They just don't know you yet. Sure, $24,000 was a lot of money, especially when you had none. But what if my dad was right? What if at this exact moment, I wasn't at the top of my game? What if this check was just the first step towards something much, much bigger? The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Not having to worry about rent was a huge relief, but only working to make rent meant I was just surviving. And I wanted to do more than that. I wanted to thrive. I wanted more for myself than a handful of rent payments. I wanted it all. I'll never forget standing there at the ATM with my dad and wondering how far I could really go. Go big or go home. The khaki-clad, overly anxious kid who didn't believe he'd ever be on the winning side of the game had finally scored. For once. And when I thought about it, I was still the same semi-anxious guy, but the little changes I had started to make inside made a big difference. The truth was, not all that much about me had changed. I hadn't undergone a drastic makeover. A new suit and a driver helped me feel more confident. But I realized that the secret sauce was how it enabled me to control my energy. And that is what I needed to change to become the power broker I wanted to be. Instead of dripping desperation, I was able to exude the energy of a knowledgeable, capable, and confident businessman. I learned a very life-altering lesson that was the first stop in understanding how to manifest big success. I couldn't change how much money I had in the bank or what kind of clothes I could afford, but I could change my presence. I could work on how I came off to people. Here's code number 1. When you can't change your circumstances, there's one thing that you can change, and that is your energy. The energy you give out comes from the core of who you are as a person. Your energy can come off to others as influential and powerful, or timid and insignificant. I was a low energy ball of sadness who picked up equally sad people wherever I went. If I was riding in the subway, I'd inevitably end up sitting next to the saddest person in the world who would tell me all about her recent breakup with her boyfriend. If I was standing in line to buy a salad, it was almost guaranteed that the person behind me in line would open up about how they just got fired from their jerk boss and their life sucks and I hate everyone. Misery loves company, and so does bad energy. If you're low energy all day, you'll attract low energy work and clients. If you put negative energy into the world, you'll surround yourself with abuse because subconsciously that's what you're asking for. At the office, the positive, energetic people would go out for drinks after work sometimes. I'd watch them walk out the office smiling and laughing together like life was a grand party. I'd be left behind with Tim, who was so low energy and so quiet, he practically blended into the wall, and Harry, whose main job in life was complaining about everything. This was not the club I wanted to belong to. I wanted to be happy like those other guys, but I felt like I didn't actually fit in with them because they made a lot more money than I did. Selling that apartment to June was the first time I understood that when you control your energy and hold yourself to a higher standard, anything becomes possible. No matter how big, how bold, nothing will be out of your reach because changing your energy means winning the game and putting losing behind you forever. And I know it's possible because I did it. During the height of my struggle as a new real estate agent in New York City, I essentially, Ryan Serhant, poster boy for not knowing how to succeed in life, I was desperate when I wanted to be confident, unsure when I wanted to be certain, slouching because I was too afraid to stand tall, and quiet when I should have just spoken up. I knew I wanted to leave low rent Ryan behind forever. But how would I ever get that started? The way I imagined big success as a kid growing up on a farm outside of Boston was lots of money in the bank, a closet full of suits, a fast car, and a sleek apartment, and who knows what else. Was that even possible for me? After my experience with Juneshine, I realized that I had two choices: give up on myself or realize that I was a blank canvas that could be worked on. I was now going to be very deliberate about how I moved forward. I didn't want to wait to start living bigger, and I didn't want to depend on anyone else to give me the permission either. I wanted my power back, the power that I lost somewhere along the way in my search for success. I wanted the power I was born with, but had lost it to social pressures and crippling anxiety. I was done holding back. I had made just one bold stroke in my canvas already, and it already looked better. I was going to do whatever it took to transform the canvas of my life into something priceless. It wasn't easy. I didn't snap my fingers and watch self-conscious and broke Ryan fade into the distance. It took a lot of work, self-evaluation, and practice. As I started to let myself have greater expectations about what I was capable of, the more I accomplished, the more my career started to grow. Examine the picture of your life right now. Is it what you really want? Really? Is it? We've all had something we fantasized about doing, but we let fear hold us back. Or maybe someone told us that our dreams are stupid. Being a magician isn't a real career. Are you insane? It's easy to talk yourself out of pursuing a dream if you're worried about screwing up, going broke, or looking like a total idiot. The show was pretty good until the magician tried to saw that lady in half, and my kids are now traumatized forever. What is your biggest desire? What if your biggest desires could actually become a reality? What if you couldn't screw up? Change your energy, and the energy and the picture of your life will look entirely different. Right now, it might be messy and chaotic and too tidy and predictable. If you commit to thinking bigger, taking bigger actions, dreaming bigger, and opening your mind up to every crazy possibility, you can live big. Wow. I freaking love this. Like this is a good book, you know? By the way, this book is dedicated to his daughter, Zena. You give me the energy to go bigger every day, and to his amazing team, Serhant, who helped me build a new company during a pandemic while I was busy writing this book. And this book, by the way, just so you guys are aware, this was actually um, a book in 2021. So, I mean, the first book that he wrote was Sell It Like Serhant. And then this is his second book in 2021 after the pandemic. And it's so good. Okay. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that you're listening in and making the decision to listen to something that's going to feed your soul and inspire you to become a better version of yourself, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to, grow personal freedom, financial freedom, and most importantly, become the best version of yourself, because you are a gift to this world and you deserve nothing, 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 nothing less than that. Okay, this world was designed for you, and we have so much to accomplish. So, alrighty, make sure to hit the like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to share this with a friend that needs to hear some positivity today, because sharing is caring and you are a gift. Okay, give a gift, receive even more. Okay, hope you have an amazing, amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.